thank you for stopping by. So this week in the world of video games, the things that I found interesting. EA and other major publishers having a downward trajectory on their stock due to the success of Fortnite. Rockstar UK's firm finally releasing its gender pay salaries, revealing the most aggressive gender pay gap in the industry. An indie game developer who lost $140,000 on developing a video game that launched and hasn't made any money. LA's video game robber. A new petition by women to ban Fortnite. In our cosplay corner, we have a Nyla. And lastly, the Steam box is anything but dead. Some of the biggest publishers in the industry are currently struggling on Wall Street. Due to Fortnite's amazing success, investors are becoming more and more leery of Fortnite and Epic Games soaking up more and more of the market share, leaving less and less revenue for large publishers such as Activision, EA, and Take-Two. While Wednesday they opened with some massive big losses, they did manage to make up most of the ground throughout the day. But overall, over the last 30 days, all three of the aforementioned companies have lost significant value in their stock. In other news, Rockstar North, the developer branch of Rockstar Games in the UK, released its salary reports on gender pay gap. Ironically enough, the company that is known for one of the most misogynistic video games in the industry has the largest gender pay gap. And to be quite frank, it shouldn't be that surprising. I don't play Grand Theft Auto, and I'm not going to say under some falsification that the only reason that I don't play Grand Theft Auto is because of its rampant objectification of women and totally insanely unrealistic expectations of what females are and how you should treat them. But I will say that my experience in GTA 3, which is the one and only GTA game that I've played, the way that women were treated in the game was quite disturbing and was one of the reasons that I did not engage in continuing to play the series. In recent weeks, the indie game developer that made the game Where Water Tastes Like Wine has reported that he spent allegedly $145,000 developing the game and has yet to make any money, zero, on the game's release. Now, I don't think this should come as any surprise, and I touched on this 2 weeks ago in the Gamer Weekly. Just because you went to school for game development, and just because you've learned how to make some artistic game that everyone praises to the sky as amazing and insightful, does not mean that the market is going to buy it. Please keep in mind, if you're going to school for video games, your teachers and professors and instructors are people that are not massive successes in their field. They're simply not. If they were massive successes in their field, they'd be in their field making massive amounts of money. So when you make a game, and I quote, Where the Water Tastes Like Wine is a narrative adventure game about traveling, sharing stories, and surviving manifest destiny. Thanks for stopping by. Please take a moment to consider subscribing to the channel. As always, we appreciate your support. In our cosplay corner this week, we have Enule, a cosplayer from Washington State. Enule is a cosplayer, armorsmith, and prop maker, specializing in costumes with meticulous detail, massive scale, and complex engineering. She is always looking for ways to expand her skills and challenge reality. When not working on a project, she is active in sharing techniques and encouragement with the cosplay community. As with all the stories, links in the description down below. In a recent article featured by the Chicago Tribune, a local video game store is gaining massive recognition and also mega sales. Could this potentially be the new face of brick-and-mortar video game stores? Check it out. In other news, the Shaggy Bandit in Los Angeles is wanted for his crime spree of robbing a GameStop. Yes, robbing a GameStop. Lastly, in our short set, we have a woman that has started a petition on Twitter with over 106 signatures to ban Fortnite because Fortnite brainwashes their boyfriends and makes them want to leave them. In our last story of the day, recently Steam took down their Alienware collaboration from their main page on the website. This led to immediate rumors that the Steam machine was no longer a thing. Gabe Newell quickly came out to squash this, saying that they were trying to clean up the front page of Steam, and they had simply moved the machine that they were making in collaboration with Alienware on open source software to become direct competition with Sony PlayStation and Xbox One to another portion of the website. They are still dedicated to working on the project and are trying to retool the marketing and retool kind of the vision and the way that the machine works, and offering some other options as far as OS. Gabe Newell was very specific though. This is not going away. And even in light of the fact that there are less and less manufacturers that are willing to make machines and sell them, and we see an ever-dwindling number of machines for sale on Newegg, Amazon, and other places, Gabe Newell is very, very certain that this is a thing. Which, in my opinion, I think it should be. I think that Sony and Microsoft need some more competition in the market. Wii has its own market niche. Sony and Microsoft really are never going to affect that, to be quite frank. As long as Nintendo continues to do what Nintendo does, there's no way that Nintendo is going anywhere, and it doesn't really affect the mass mainstream market of gamers. It's something that a certain group of people play, and then it is what it is. I think that there's definitely room in the market for a third competitor, and I think that Steam is poised perfectly to do so. They have the game library, they have the means of delivering the games to the players. They just need to come up with the proper hardware that's able to insinuate itself next to someone's TV seamlessly, and bing bang boom. We have a third console that can directly compete with Sony and Microsoft. That is all that I found interesting in the world of video game news this week. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you had a wonderful week. Until next time.